All right, we are ready. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of 2KU Saturdays. We are now in Week 8 of the 2023 season. One of the most historic matchups in recent memory in 2KU has been Oregon and Stanford, and these two teams meet up once again. They met up as the two best teams in the nation back in 2021. That was en route to Stanford winning the national championship that season. The Ducks have been very competitive in the national championship hunt in this time, as have the Cardinal, two of the best programs in college football meeting here in Eugene. Oregon will get the ball first as we're underway from Outson Stadium in Eugene, Oregon. In Oregon, we saw last week in an overtime win over USC. And this team has its biggest game here tonight. Oregon with one loss on the year to Oklahoma State. There's a big run for Noel to kick the game off. 11 yards and a first down. Looking at your Pac-10 standings for this week. Stanford sits at top. They're 4-0 in conference. Oregon is in second, also at 4-0 in conference play. There's a big breakaway run for quarterback Andrew Burnett for 20 yards. Stanford 7-0. Oregon, as we mentioned, 6-1. The rest of the standings going down. Arizona State, Washington State, and USC are all still in a hunt for a spot, as there's a sack for a loss of 5. But as it looks likely, we'll be seeing another rematch between the Ducks and Cardinal for the Pac-12 or the Pac-10 championship. It'll be the Pac-12 next season, as they'll be welcoming in Utah and San Diego State. Second down. Here's a keeper for Burnett once again. It'll give it 7 yards, leading to a third and 8. Oregon Ducks have two of the top 3 Heisman finalists on this offense so far. Those being quarterback Burnett and halfback Terrence Noel, as that pass is incomplete. And 4th and 8 in Stanford territory. They're going to punt it. This will be the first time we'll see Stanford's offense since we saw them back in week 1 when they beat Michigan in Arlington. There's a touchback. And now comes Marvin Walker, a freshman quarterback winning the 2021 national championship for the Cardinal. One of the best performances by a freshman in NCAA history as a starter. He was given a very strong team to work with. And along with a lot of new starters that season, captured the national championship with the win over Baylor. Now Baylor also in the hunt this season for a national championship. There's a big first down throw to tight end number 98. Let me pull up the roster here as it's 1st and 10 from their own 44-yard line. Hand off to the halfback for a first down. Two teams with great running backs. Roosevelt McKenzie was the big load carrier for Stanford on that national championship team. He graduated last season, and he's now playing in the NFL as they go 5 wide. James Byers was the tight end and made the catch earlier, as that throw will be just gotten rid of. And it'll set up a second down. Stanford is actually number 3 in our top 25. This is actually the closest we'll get to the NCAA 14's top 25, lining up with ours. Oregon is number 5 for us. That is actually not too much of a difference. He's got to get rid of it. Incomplete, almost caught. It would have been incredible if he managed to get that off and make a completion. And the toughest place to play in the nation may be Outson Stadium. There's a throw, first down, and more. James Byers. That's Bill Mullins, pardon me. This is 1st and 10. Option keeper, Marvin Walker. And that's a first down. And the tree approves.
Yeah, and that was a situation where the quarterback knew he could pick up the first down if he kept it himself. That's a good decision. This is the 8th play of this drive.
New set of downs from about the 15-yard line. Handoff. Ooh, and he takes a shot. It's a 3rd tackle for Oregon's free safety. And it's been 18 yards on the ground in this still young game for starting fullback James Sherman.
Ball on the 15-yard line.
Handoff, another one for Sherman. And a 5-yard gain.
And this is the 10th play of the drive.
3rd and 5. On what's essentially goal to go. Walker. A 6-yard gain. And that's a first down.
It's first down, and they'll be looking for 6 points here. Gotta be careful about
1st and goal inside the 5 at about the 4-yard line. Handoff.
they'll bring him down at the 1. Defense
And there's a flag on the play. Offsides. I did see someone making some motions over there. So it'll be 1st and goal on the 2-yard line. It'll give Stanford another chance. Round the corner, touchdown, Stanford.
This is what an offensive lineman hopes for. An opportunity to impose his will on the defense.
An easy blocking path for Greg Barnes, the 2nd string running back, as the kick is up and good. Stanford will score first in this one.
I thought they did a really good job of showing balance, mixing the play calling with the run and the pass. Just an overall well-executed touchdown drive. Makes it to the 20.
As there's a 20-yard return for Frank Montgomery, the senior for Oregon.
That's exactly the way they had hoped to see this game go. I mean, anytime you can start the game with a stop,
Oregon's already been in 2 games this season on stream. They've split them even. Both went to overtime. They lost to Oklahoma State in double overtime, and in double overtime, they beat USC last week.
the screen is good for 4. Simple bubble screen here to the receiver. He did a pretty good job of picking up some yardage before he went down.
Second down and 6. Handoff. Noel will get the first. Option keeper. Sheds tacklers. He's still going to the 40, to the 30, inside the 30 to about the 27-yard line. Andrew Burnett. Gashing the Stanford defense for a big first down. They're going to try the option again. Burnett keeps it. And he'll get 9 yards. Not as explosive as the last play. Second and 1, handoff to Noel. Still going, down to the 3. He can't bring him down. First down, goal to go. Option keeper for Burnett. Touchdown, Oregon. And it's Andrew Burnett who keeps it himself and puts it in the end zone after the huge first down. And the PAT will tie this game. The lead man for this Oregon offense, seen as one of the best quarterbacks in a potential NFL draft scenario. They still have not confirmed if Burnett will be committing. The senior from Lahaina, Hawaii. As there's a big run. Oh, and a big stiff arm for James Sherman. Setting up a 1st and 10. Already 11 first downs, and we haven't exited the first quarter. 1st and 10, a rocket for the first down to James Byers. Yeah, much like the NFL, any player, a junior or senior, can declare for the NFL draft. We have not had a lot of juniors declare, specifically last season. No declared junior went in the first round last year. Looks like teams in the NFL trending more towards experience, trying to get as much out of their players as possible. 2nd and 4, short throw. Not enough for the first. The throw to Tyler Arnold, a yard short, and it'll set up 3rd and 1. Terrence Noel of Oregon is a senior. He will be going to the NFL draft. And he's seen as the #1 running back on the board. And what a stop there! A loss of 1. That'll end the first quarter even at 7.
Set to resume action here in the second quarter,
and they're going to punt it.
Doesn't want to let the punt returner have a chance here. He just wants to change field position.
Over 100 yards each. That punt. How far back will they put that punt? That's at the 5-yard line. Fantastic punt. First and 10. They're going to run it. And it's not going to go anywhere. Running it inside your own 5. They're going to do it again. Oh, and you're getting dangerously close to your own end zone on 3rd and 13.
It's 3rd down. This is a scary spot deep in their own territory.
3rd and 13 in the shadow of their own end zone. Gonna throw. And they'll get to about the 11. That's not enough for the first. They'll punt it.
All the defense has to do is stay back, keep everything in front of them, come up and make a tackle.
The punt is away. 50. And it'll get to the 40-yard line. Stanford will have a great start. That's what a good punting unit can do. Stanford coffin cornering it in Oregon's own 5 there. And they couldn't get anything from it. Walker throwing to the right side. Finds Mullins for another 5 yards.
It's 2nd and 5 here. Ball on the 35-yard line.
Second and 5. And they'll get a yard. There's another first down on the throw to the fullback. That's Mark Anthony, a senior. He's on the national championship team. There's a tackle for a loss. A fantastic statistic for this Oregon team. They've been held under 30 points once this season, and they're only lost to Oklahoma State. And they've only been under, they've been under 30 points once. There's a flag on the play, a false start most likely. A more incredible statistic is in only 3 of their games have they been below 40 points. They had a 4-game stretch rather, of scoring more than 40, including a 58-point win over UCLA. 45 against Texas A&M, another 45 against Washington State, and a 40-point win against Cal. They were 2 points short of keeping that streak going as they won 38-31 against USC. There's a big play for the first down to Kenny Tyson, the junior.
This young man is really getting better at running his routes, which is a truly underrated quality these days.
And this is 1st and goal from the 10. Oh, a stiff arm. Big play for Sherman, but it'll only get a yard.
And this play is number 8 on the drive.
Stanford has been very dominant on defense in comparison to Oregon. We'll talk about that later. That one's out of bounds. Stanford has only allowed more than 20 points twice, once against Michigan and once 2 weeks ago against Washington. Walker throws it, leaping, can't get in the end zone. He'll be stopped short, and 4th and goal is upon them, and they're going for it on the goal line. 4th and goal to try and take the lead. Fullback stopped. Nothing. How about Oregon's defense stepping up once again with a crucial 4th down stop? And here we go again. With 3 minutes to go, Burnett's going to keep it. They'll get 12 yards on the run. Option in your own end zone. Worked better than their last drive within their own end zone. 1st and 10. Pump fake. He's got to work something with it. He'll evade the sack and get 3 yards. Second and 7. Stopped. Big play.
He made a great break on the ball and used his speed to make the big tackle.
Just runs into a brick wall. 3rd and 10. Oregon's has not converted on 3rd down today. He had trouble converting against Oklahoma State. There's a deep bomb. Incomplete. He almost had it. Now you're going to need some more defensive magic.
They're stacking the line. It looks like they're coming after this punt.
Here's the punt away. Taken to the 50. He'll get to the 48, to about the 46. Receiving number 39, Kenny Tyson on the return.
This is the point in the game where you don't want to make any mistakes that give the other guys a reason to feel more confident going into halftime.
With 2:02 to go in the half. Stanford has his first down. Walker. Gonna throw it. Intercepted. Oregon defense, how do you do? Stolen away by the free safety. Over Kenny Tyson, who I just mentioned on the punt return. And Oregon will get another chance to take the lead. And these uniforms, in reference to the uniforms they wore for the 2012 National Championship game. You notice that helmet style, not the typical wings you'd see. That was the style they wore from the 2000s up until 2012. Tired with their national championship. This was that was the style they wore for their most successful years, 2011, 2012. And the big step they took in that dynasty was their key wins over Stanford in 2009 and 2011. And Stanford got crucial wins over the Ducks in 2013, as well as winning a national championship back in 2020 or 2010, as well as 2021. And as I've established multiple times from the 2K Weekly podcast last Sunday, as well as the intro to this game, one of the most important rivalries in the 2KU has been Stanford and Oregon in terms of having something on the line. And look at this big run for Burnett as they'll call a timeout. Setting up a first and goal. Looking, he's going to run it himself. Has room. Touchdown, Oregon. It's Burnett again who puts it in. And the Ducks have the lead.
No one could break clear, so the QB decided to run it in.
You've got to like it when your leader takes things into his own hands.
He just couldn't be brought down. Gets a bit of air on the collision there, but they rule him over the line. And he gets over anyways. Kick up and good. Oregon takes a 14-7 lead with a minute to go in the half. Took 2 timeouts off the board. Oregon with a win would very easily control their own destiny in the Pac-10. The remaining schedule after this is pretty easy. Arizona, Washington, Arizona State, and Oregon State. Their toughest game being that Week 12 matchup against the Sun Devils, who are still not out of the race. 1st and 10. Big catch. Steps out of bounds, and that's a first down. Stanford's schedule is a bit harder in comparison. They still play Arizona State and USC on the road, as well as a game against Washington State, and they wrap the year at Cal. Stanford has their bye in Week 9. Oregon's is a week later in Week 10. That is a first down. The Sun Devils are off this week, but they are still sitting in 3rd place in the race. A win against Stanford and their loss here would put the Sun Devils in conversation. Of course, they had a surprise run in 2021. They played in the conference championship game that year. That was the last year they had divisions. 1st and 10, another first down. To about the 10, not a 1st and goal, but it may as well be. Arizona State still plays Stanford and Oregon. Throwing to the end zone. Almost intercepted, but it's incomplete. I was saying with the Sun Devils, they play Cal, Stanford, Washington State, Oregon, and Arizona. Their toughest games are yet to come. But given a miracle, as there's a big loss on the play, given a miracle, the Sun Devils could be in slot 2, or keep in mind, the Washington State Cougars are still in the race, as that one's out of bounds. And on 4th and 13 for the Cardinal, they're going to kick a field goal to get within 4. Clock stopped with the incompletion. Oregon may have one last chance. And with 10 seconds, Stanford gets within 4. It's 14-10 Ducks. As I was saying, Washington State has Oregon State, USC, Arizona, Arizona State, Stanford, and Washington. The Cougars' toughest game certainly would be that matchup in Week 12 against Stanford. Actually, pretty good matchups that week. Arizona State plays Oregon in Tempe. Washington State heads to Stanford to play the Cardinal. It's going to be a very interesting races. Big run. Ooh, big collision. And the final timeout for Oregon. It's the last play of the half. They'll probably just throw it up, see what they can get. From their own 40, Burnett. Gonna heave it. Dropped. Incomplete. That'll be the end of the first half. Oregon is up 14-10. And as we look at some scores from the week, how about we start with an upset win? Virginia is making grounds in the ACC with a win over Florida State. Illinois beating Minnesota in the Twin Cities in 3 overtimes. Boston College narrowly escapes the win against the Huskies. With a big win, Troy now controls its own destiny in the Sun Belt. The Baylor Bears and Oklahoma State Cowboys are still number 1 after blowout wins, respectively, for them. North Carolina beating South Carolina in Charlotte. Jacksonville State gets handed their first loss of the year on a road matchup against Delaware. Alabama narrowly escapes Tennessee after a last-second missed field goal by the Vols. UAB upsets a ranked Cincinnati 17-0. The biggest upset of this week, Duke 30-24 over number 11 Clemson. Now is controlling their own destiny at number 2 in the ACC. They're trying to win their first ACC championship since 1972. Louisville gains ground in the CUSA with a win over Liberty. Virginia Tech puts 68 points up on Miami in their home stadium at Hard Rock. Pittsburgh puts down a statement win over Rutgers. Appalachian State falls to James Madison. Auburn wins a close one against LSU. New Mexico State narrowly escapes with a win, getting revenge against Nevada. Penn State now controls its own destiny against Indiana with the win. And the last game here, USC escapes with a win after falling behind Arizona. Relevant to the Pac-10 race, Washington State just got a win against Oregon State to keep them in the race. Here's 2nd and 5 for the Cardinal. Marvin Walker will throw this one out of bounds. As I mentioned, I don't think any race is now more interesting, thanks to an upset win, than the ACC's. Duke is now bowl eligible with the win over Clemson. Ahead of their bye, as there's a first down for Stanford, ahead of their bye, they've gone 6-2. They have their easiest parts of the schedule coming up. Their toughest game, a home game against North Carolina. Now the debate is who can catch up to Virginia Tech and Clemson, and now can Clemson keep pace with Duke, who has not lost a conference game this year? Clemson obviously would need Duke to lose twice in order to catch up. A loss to Virginia Tech would all but eliminate them if Duke wins out. So now the game against the Hokies is do or die. What a shot. But get this, if Duke wins out and Clemson and Clemson beats Virginia Tech, that would knock even if the Hokies win out, that would knock them out of contention for the conference championship game. So it would be a battle between two two-loss teams between Clemson and Duke in Charlotte. There's another big first down. What I want to get on the spreadsheet that we've been using, if Danny's still here, I want to eventually get myself or figure out how to calculate probability by this week or next to calculate the odds each team would have of winning their conference and see who is mathematically eliminated from taking the conference championship spots. Here's Walker over the middle, bobbled, incomplete. I've been off to the side, but Stanford has been efficiently working down the field. 2nd and 10. Walker over the middle finds a man for the first down. And the tree approves. It's another throw to the tight end, James Byers. 1st and 10. Hand off for Sherman to the 4-yard line. Stanford has had trouble in goal situations so far, but they can take the lead here if they can score. 2nd and 1, hand off. They'll give him a new set of downs. But second-string running back Greg Barnes cannot get into the end zone. 1st and goal from the 3. And they put it to the fullback. Touchdown, Stanford. That's Mark Anthony who puts it in. Who says the fullback is a dead position? The big man will put the Stanford Cardinal in the lead. 17-14 is the score.
And it looks like they're ready for the kickoff. He just drills this one.
3-point lead, though, not comfortable against the Ducks. This is a team who can score on you from anywhere at any time. They were within their own 3-yard line. And they put it in the end zone before the game ended. Or before the half ended, rather.
This deficit can be easily overcome, sure. But they have to be thinking if they don't get something going on this series, the burden is going to be felt by their defense.
1st and 10, Burnett with the keeper. He fools the entire defense. To the 40, to the 50. He's got room to run. 10, 5, touchdown, Oregon. Make it immediate. And make it a hat trick for Andrew Burnett. Hello, Heisman. And Terrence Noel is right there with him.
And he converts the extra point. Oregon gets set to kick this one away.
And within 10 seconds, the Ducks are in the lead once again. They saw that very long, methodical drive the Cardinal were on. They looked them in the eyes and then they said, I could do one better. I could do all that in less than 15 seconds. And there's Burnett alongside Terrence Noel. A metaphor for the Heisman race so far. Both those two have been full paces ahead of the competition. And this could put them within the top 5 more comfortably with a big win. Oh, there's a big play. 56 yards for number 39, Kenny Tyson. And Stanford answers right back. 1st and 10 now for the Cardinal. Play action. Walker. Gonna throw to the end zone. Over his man. Incomplete. Here's 2nd and 10 from the Oregon 22. Well within field goal range, but you don't want a field goal here. You want to take the lead. Walker screenplay. And that's 4 yards. On the throw to number 88, Marcus Munoz, the sophomore. Third and 6, Walker throwing it as he's hit. Incomplete. And another big defensive play for Oregon. And they're going to try a field goal. This one's from about 35 yards out. Kick is up, and it's good. Stanford within 1 now. (21-20), the Ducks with the lead. And with that last touchdown, the Ducks are now only the 3rd team the Cardinal have given up more than 20 points to. As I mentioned earlier, only Michigan and Washington have had more than 20 points against the Cardinal. Another keeper, definitely not as successful as the last one, but Andrew Burnett still moving efficiently. Now, of course, there was the classic game the Cardinal had against the Ducks last season in Palo Alto. A game so good it wouldn't let me stream it. My streaming software crashed. It was either my streaming software crashed or the computer I used ran out of battery, but it wouldn't let me finish the game. Handoff for Noel. A 13-yard run. If you look at the one video on my channel that isn't a live stream, it's me recording the ending through replays. It had an incredible play. Stanford won last year's matchup 35-34 with some late game heroics and an improbable interception to cap the game off. As there's Burnett, another keeper for 13 yards with 1:08 to go in the third.
First and 10. Ball on the 17.
Option play. I believe that's backup running back Kyle Bryant. We've seen him occasionally. He's not on field often, but when he is, he's still managed to be a factor. Certainly not as explosive as Terrence Noel, but you definitely wouldn't want to be without him on an offense like this. As that's a 10-yard gain, setting up a 3rd and 3 from about the 10-yard line.
Oregon with a 1-point lead.
Oregon up 1. They need 3 yards to reset the sticks. They hand it off, and Bryant will get 6 yards, putting him at about the 3-yard line. First and goal, they hand it off to Bryant. Touchdown, Oregon.
He's got a nose for the end zone. What more can you say? He wasn't giving up on that run until
Kyle Bryant. That's the first touchdown, not by Burnett today. Kicks up and good, and the Ducks take an 8-point lead in the third quarter.
Looks like they're ready for the kick. He really got a hold of that kick.
Kicks away. Will be taken in the end zone for a touchback.
The end zone for a touchback. Stanford clicking on offense right now.
Signs point to Oregon and Stanford meeting in the conference championship game.
quarterbacks seem to be making better decisions. Right now, they can't be stopped.
There's still plenty of time to keep running
Arizona State would need to win against Stanford in Week 10 to make the conference championship. Washington State's already played Oregon, so they can't get the first overall spot. But the Cougars could win, or could nab a spot if they win out. If they win out and Stanford loses here. And that'll end the third, 28-20. Oregon with the lead. Put up the fours. No music for whatever reason. USC, as I forgot to mention, but USC is not out either. They can make it with a win out, and they need Arizona, but they would need Arizona State not to win out. And they're going to stop them on third down. 4th and 8. Just at about the beginning of the fourth quarter. A big sack on the play. And they're going to punt it this late in the game. Might be fatal against an Oregon offense that's been as explosive as it has. He muffed the punt. He picks it back up. But that could have been a lot more. As Terrence Noel bounced off his helmet.
And I'll tell you, in a close game like this, you just can't do stuff like that. You know this is a real crucial time in the game.
That could have been disastrous if he didn't fall on it. But he picks it up and gains a couple of yards. They hand it right to him. I don't know what happened there. But it'll be a 2-yard gain, 2nd and 8. Hand off to Noel. Another 3 yards, 3rd and 5. Stanford going to need a big step to stay in this game. Third and 5, Noel. Or, pardon me, that's Burnett. Sorry. There's a big play to the 30. Inside the 30 on the throw to Michael LePaz. The sophomore transfer from Kansas State. He's redshirted his freshman year. That was in 2021. He played last season for the Wildcats before transferring to Oregon. Not a lot of passing today for Oregon. They've been living by the run. 2nd and 10 on the handoff to Terrence Noel, a 4-yard gain. Third and 6. Burnett's going to keep it. And that's a 5-yard run. It's not going to be enough for the first, though. It's 4th and 1. Bit slow to get up, but he's all right. He's had injury problems in the past. Of course, he missed most of 2022 with an injury. But this Oregon team is much stronger with him back. And the kick is up and good. Oregon is now up 11. The first team Stanford has given up 30 points to this season. Taken down. There's a flag on the play, though. Clipping. That's going to put them at their own 10. Backup fullback. Charge for clipping. That is a quick glimpse of the refs talking it out with the coach. Stanford's head coach, Chad Dorsey, has been in the position since 2017. His contract expires next season, though he's most likely to get an extension, though the NFL might come knocking for him. like it did the previous head coach, who's currently the head coach in the NFL for the Atlanta Falcons. 3rd and 3. A crucial 3rd down for Stanford with just over 3 minutes left. Walker gonna throw it. Nobody there. And they can't get it. And on 4th and 3 in your own territory, you're gonna have to punt it this deep. Punter near his own goal line. Punts away. He had a fantastic punt earlier on in the game. And there's another flag. Face mask on Stanford. And this is the worst time to have the penalty bug.
From the 33-yard line, it's 1st down. Less than 3 minutes in the
I think a fantastic job done by Ricky Jones, the quarterback of Oregon, or the head coach of Oregon, rather.
The running back gets 2 on the
He's been coaching the Ducks since 2008. He's given them their most successful seasons in recent memory. His contract expires next year, though he's likely to re-sign. And there's a big run for Terrence Noel, a 17-yard game, as Stanford will call their first timeout. 2 minutes and 8 seconds to go.
ball on the 14.
Quarterback keeper.
Gets out to around the 6.
They'll be just short of the end zone. Just be rather short of the first down line. 2nd and 2 from about the 5-yard line. Quarterback keeper for Noel. That's the exclamation point. Touchdown, Oregon.
And that rushing touchdown should put this one away, Kirk.
And on the topic we were talking about earlier, Oregon cementing themselves once again with a 30-point showing.
He makes the PAT.
And the Ducks will now control their own destiny.
So the score now, 38-20. They line up to kick this one away. He kicks it off, and he got all of that one. And it goes into the end zone.
Game's not over, of course. Stanford still has 2 minutes to work with.
It's a new possession for this offense, so what will it hold?
More improbable comebacks have happened. Over the middle to Tyler Arnold.
33-yard line.
And he'll bring up 2nd and 2.
Less than 2 minutes in the 4th quarter.
And they'll spike it.
Spike will stop the clock.
So now it's 3rd and 2.
So it's 3rd down, and they've got about 2 yards to go.
Cardinal to loss still have Arizona State, USC, Washington State, and Cal, as I mentioned earlier. A tough schedule ahead of the Cardinal, as there's another screen pass and a big 1st down. 12 yards for James Sherman. Finds a man for a 1st down.
They'll bring him down around the 39.
16-yard reception
Gives him over
to the wide receiver, number 9, number 39 rather, Kenny Tyson. Walker over the middle,
to his receiver in a hurry.
another 1st down, 15-yard reception.
I like the call here by the defense.
That one was to Bill Mullins.
Outside linebacker. It was just a better call by the offense, and that's why it's a 1st down.
Minute 20. Walker, he's going to be sacked.
With a sack.
Second down and 18.
Spikes the ball.
And he'll spike it.
This is the 8th play of this drive.
Here comes 3rd and 18. A crucial 3rd down after the spike. Only a minute to go. They gotta score if they can't hear. Touchdown! And they're not done yet. This is Earl B, number 9. He's a junior.
Down the field on that touchdown connection.
But he has the speed to stretch the defense.
And the Cardinal are not done yet.
Every single game.
So the kicker's going to stay on the sidelines. These guys will try for a two.
They're going to go for 2 to get within 10.
Over a minute in the game.
Going to throw it. Dropped.
An 8-play, 75-yard drive. But the failed two.
And they're going to have to go for the onside kick here.
How about the guys up front? The offensive line giving the quarterback
Oregon will recover.
to read the defense and make the right throw.
And he's tackled at the 40.
And that will effectively ice this one. What a game for the Oregon Ducks.
Wrong, the other team can't do anything right. And offense is back on the field after running.
There are statement wins, and there's what Oregon has done tonight.
Line really opened up some big gaps for the running back last time.
From an 9-4 campaign last year.
Called their final timeout.
That's their final timeout. They'll take the knees here.
25-yard line. First down. We should just see the quarterback take a knee right here.
From a very off campaign, losing Burnett to injury most of the year last season, to now improving to 7-1, controlling your own destiny, and with a long shot chance of making the national championship.
Gains his way to the 16-yard line.
As another run for Noel will ice it. The Oregon Ducks, number 5 in the country, take down the Stanford Cardinal and advance to become the top dog
What a fun one to watch in a close
in the Pac-10.
final. 38-20.
How about 7 for 10, 66 yards, 21 carries, 250 ground yards, and 4 touchdowns in total.
Kirk Herbstreit. I'm Brad Nessler. We'll see you soon for another edition of NCAA.
As the Oregon Ducks get the win at home, 38-26 to win back-to-back on stream. And a date in LA might be this team's destiny. For as successful the Ducks have been, they haven't played in the conference championship game since 2020. That was their last conference title as well. Stanford will likely still be second. This is their first loss of the year. They're off this week, or they're off this coming week in week 9. They return with a crucial road matchup against Arizona State. They also play Washington State at home to end the season before their matchup against Cal. So Stanford by no means has game easy, and obviously there's that matchup against USC they still got to worry about. They lost twice to the Trojans last year. USC is lingering in the distance, as is Washington State. This Pac-10 is still wide open. I think the only thing that is certain, I believe, is I think Oregon might have punched themselves a ticket with this win. Obviously, you never know. There's still an opportunity. But what a win it was. Thank you all for watching today's game. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow for the 2KU weekly podcast, where we'll discuss this game and more. A lot of big implications for the conference championship race this week, as the best teams are starting to whittle themselves away. So we see who is really in contention for the national championship. Thank you all for watching, and so long from the 2KU.